All right, so next up is our foot in the door offer. And again, what I want to make sure is super clear is all of this stuff should line up, right? If we're trying to sell this SEO agency services that we just mocked up, we obviously want to ensure that our foot in the door puts people in a prime position and a prime buying environment to buy our core offer. If it doesn't do that, and we then have to explain what it is and what we do and prove ourselves after we give our foot in the door service, we've blown it all. Okay? So when you're thinking about your foot in the door, it has to naturally lead into your core offer. Okay, the best place typically to start with this is to really look at your core offer and think about why I can't go back. Think about the deliverables that you have in your core offer and splinter out and separate out a couple of the options. Look, if you're going to do something for 90% of your prospects in month 1, 2, or 3, and you can move that out as a foot in the door product, and that sets you up as an expert and it brings goodwill to you, and it's really super easy to do, then why wouldn't you do that? You're going to do it later if you win them as a client anyway, right? So first and foremost is that has to naturally lead into your core offer. Okay, so next up, for me, this has evolved over time, but for me, this really has to be done in an hour or less. Okay, and ideally, this should be able to be done by you, not by a specialist, okay, or it should be able to be done by a VA. Right? You shouldn't need like a developer to do this because you don't know how. Because what happens if you get a prospect that right here, right now, wants to jump on a phone call with you and wants to see that you're an expert, but yet you can't show him over the shoulder how this is done? Okay, this needs to be simple. Okay, and one of the criteria that is newer for me when it comes into the foot in the door is I'd really like to be able to do this live. Meaning if I can reach out to a prospect and I can say, look, you have this problem. Here's why it's a problem, right? It's a problem, but it's an opportunity. And if you can fix this, this is going to be one step in the right direction to help you get this result. Who's going to tell you no, right? I'm happy to jump on a phone call with you and do it with you. They say yes. You on the call can then showcase your expertise. Okay, you can start building rapport with them and they can see that you truly are an expert, not that you just had some VA do it behind the scenes. Give me a 1 if that last criteria makes sense. All right, cool. What's up, Willie? Good to see you, brother. Hope that keto diet's still going well, man. You can see it's going well for me. All right, good stuff. So this, if you are, give you a little detail, and I don't want you guys to overthink your foot in the door, but when you start, this is good enough criteria for a foot in the door. Longer term, though, if you are going to have salespeople helping you, I think that long term, it's great to implement this process just as is. Give the foot in the door offer away. Mr. Prospect, here's the problem. Here's the opportunity. If you fix it, I'm happy to fix it. You get on a call with them. You help them fix it. While you're fixing it, you're building rapport, right? Then you're done and you're like, now let me, would you like, Mr. Prospect, if I'd share with you how to, right, 10x the results of your Google Maps campaign, right? Or your Google local campaign, or your SEO campaign, and you go into basically what you do in your package, right? And you build the plan. Here's what you should be doing. Here's what you're not, right? And then at the end, they're naturally going to ask how you can help them. Okay. So the only time that I like to complicate this sales funnel is if it's working. I'll add one thing here that for me has made a big difference in one of my agencies. The other agency wasn't like this, or my other agencies weren't like this, but in one of my agencies, we had a paid upsell to the foot in the door. Okay, so we would, for example, we would help them do a GMB optimization. And if they said, yes, I want you to do that, then we could potentially upsell them the next thing for a couple $100. So typically what we would do here, and I talk about this in some of my paid training and go into it in much more detail, but we would do something from anywhere from $100 to $500. And my pen's not working for shit at the moment for some reason. $100 to $500. And the reason that we do this is this can be completely self-liquidating then. If we end up offering this and we're working with a sales team, we can pay out the sales team potentially up to 100% of this $100 to $500 every time they sell it. And then we don't have to pay out the sales team on the $1,000 plus a month recurring. Give me a 3 if that makes sense to everybody, right? So if there's a way that we can monetize the front end and have a self-liquidating offer and pay our sales team and pay our prospecting and pay our ads or however we're getting the deal, if we can pay for that before we ever even get to the core offer, that's obviously a win. Give me some feedback in the chat if you get that, right? Okay, the only piece of advice that I'm giving you is don't overcomplicate the sales cycle to start. If it's just you, don't throw that in to start. Start with just a free foot in the door, build rapport, get to know the customers, get to know the ideal prospects, figure out the problems, figure out the opportunities, and then go from there. Let me see what you guys said. All right, fantastic, good stuff. All right, so we got the core offer, we got the ideal prospects, we got then a foot in the door offer. We talked about that criteria. Let's talk about what the foot in the door offer could be for our local SEO, local marketing package, if you will, that we've put out so far. Based upon what I've set up and what we've come up with so far, I'd like to hear your feedback. What do you guys think the foot in the door offer should be? I'm going to turn the tables a little bit and it's back to you guys. I want you guys interacting. And so this is a good way for us to keep this thing going. So again, ideally, we can show that there's a problem and that there's an opportunity, okay? If they fix that problem, ideally, that can be done pretty quickly. And ultimately, we can do that over the phone would be a big win. Okay, so somebody said free citations. So Frankie, free citations, I wouldn't do. I'm not saying it's horrible, and I appreciate you giving feedback and being the first person to stand up and give an idea. But I don't like this because you doing this manually is going to take time on the phone. Then you're going to have to like give the login. It's not going to add instantaneous value. It could set up though that, hey, I need to go do this 200 more times, and so pay me to do it. I don't think it's that much of a driver of success though, just personally. And for you to have something or do something meaningful on that call, I don't know, right? I would rather see like a GMB optimization, okay? And you could just do a partial optimization, right? You could do images and you could like geotag them, for example. You could make sure that the category selection was correct, right? You could just do kind of a mini GMB optimization. What else you guys got in here? So I see whenever I move my mouse instead of using my pencil is when it messes with the screen. Yep. What else? Okay, let's put it this way. Let me re-ask this question. What could we do in terms of Google My Business or SEO that somebody could see a significant lift, right, from our work, where we can do that on the call with a customer? And I don't know what the answer is. I'm just brainstorming with you guys, but this is what you got to think about. You're thinking like this is your first interaction with the prospect. What the heck do you do? Right? Like you want to have the best, you want to in 30 minutes position yourself the best way possible. What's going to position you the best way possible? I think results in advance, obviously. Whatever adds the most value. Let's see. So there we go. So update metadata. Yeah. So Frankie, that could be a good one. For example, let's say that you had a stop moving. So you could do some title tag updates, hypothetically. So one of the biggest problems I find with local is that most often is they don't even have the city name that they're going after and that they want to rank for in the title tag. So that could be a good one. What else? Guys, what about call tracking? Right? What if you simply offered call tracking as a foot in the door? Okay, or maybe it was the upsell to the foot in the door. Okay, what if you could, whether they have citations or not, go right into the GMB listing, add a tracking phone number, and then be able to share the results with them. Look, Mr. Business Owner, I see that you're already ranking in maps, but I don't think you're actually tracking calls. Let me help you with that. Right? You could just sign them up and then be an affiliate for one of the other platforms too. Right? But then you go in a consultative type of role. I actually really like that. What else? The category thing, by the way, is big. Most local businesses in terms of Google Maps have shit the bed, so to speak, with their categories. Okay. I'm gonna try to open these questions in a bigger box. Yeah, so you could add Q&A into the GMB. Let's see, what else Jamie say? Business photos, double check the hours of operation, the business info and the description. Yeah, I mean, most of this stuff is never really thought out very well. And so if you just had like a 10-point checklist here, respond to reviews, teach them how to respond to reviews. Let's see, Alan says that he's using our review strategy that we teach, that I teach, basically the text message strategy, and I give you guys that text message that works like crazy to get reviews. Okay, you could do free SSLs, right? So if they don't have an SSL, you could do that. You could definitely do schema. Okay, if we're going after people that are spending money on advertising, even if you're not going to do Google ads, you could potentially find some problems with that, right? So in terms of Google ads, like negative keyword check, this one's funny. So you could do like worst plumber in or whatever, worst whatever in the city that you're going after. That's a big one, right? Cool. So you guys got the point. The thing is to make sure that you focus on the value, right? And don't be too obsessive with your foot in the door offer. Get out there and start testing it. Get out there and play with it. Talk to customers. Make the offer to fix something, and test it with your prospects. Okay. It could be 2 or 3 things that you bundle together. And you just rattle through, and it could be just kind of a little mini audit that you help them through. And then when you reach out, you say, there's these 5 things that are wrong.